What's going on, guys, and welcome to the 10th episode of my back to front challenge on F1 2015. This is the 11th round of the championship from Spa-Francorchamps in Belgium, and as you can see, it is raining here for the race. So this is going to be the very first race of the season, I believe, which is affected by rain. It was raining in qualifying as well, but it didn't affect really the grid order. Nico Rosberg was still able to put it on pole from the Ferraris and the Williams cars. For those of you that are new to this series, I'm driving as Lewis Hamilton in the Mercedes, and I'm starting from last place in every Grand Prix of the championship season with default setup on the car as well. So it's been an interesting challenge up to now. We're trailing our teammate in the championship by 25 points, so a race win, effectively separating us at this stage. One thing I've done so far in this championship is utilise the advantage of starting on the prime tyres and moving to the options later on, but of course for this round of the championship that's not going to be an option because we're starting on the intermediates, and of course it looks like it's still raining here, so if anything we might be going on to wets later on, but for now we're starting on the intermediate tyres. So we're just about to get underway here for the Belgian Grand Prix with the two Manor cars just ahead of us. As per usual, the lights are coming on and they go out, and away we go for the Belgian Grand Prix. And I've got a pretty decent start here on the intermediates. I'm past Merry as we come into turn one already, although he's gone charging up the inside of everybody. And I'm taking it quite cautiously, but I've still managed to get tagged from behind. And that's resulted in us going only up into 17th. And we've got Felipe Nasr ahead of us. I don't know who it was who tagged me, but I, as a result, was pushed into Carlos Sainz there, as we just saw Nasr going very slowly up through Eau Rouge, but he's now making a move around the outside of Fernando Alonso, who of course is bound to be slow with his Honda engine, so we're able to get up the inside of Alonso as well, and maybe up the inside of Nasr. Yes, we managed that at the end of the Kemmel Straight, so we're up into 15th place on this first lap. And look at this, Roberto Merry, he had an incredible start, moving up to 14th, considering that he was last coming into the braking zone of turn one. La Source hairpin, but we're going to be able to make a move up the inside of him, so we're up into 14th on this first lap. And as we move closer to the end of lap one, we can see Nico Hülkenberg ahead of us in the Force India. A train of cars here coming through the bus stop chicane at the end of the first lap. I can see Grosjean ahead of Hülkenberg. We might be able to make a move into La Source hairpin if we can outbrake Hülkenberg, and we have done. So that's us up into 13th now at the start of the second lap. And next up is Romain Grosjean in the Lotus. He's in 12th, although he's got a much better exit than we did. But now as we come up to Eau Rouge, we'll see what we can do through here. We've managed to close up significantly on Grosjean, and we're going to have a really nice slipstream here coming down the Kemmel Straight, and we're already going past him. That's us up into 12th and braking quite late for the chicane there. So next up is Sergio Perez in the Force India in 11th, and we now come towards the end of lap 2, pushing the car right out to the edge of the track there, and we're in the slipstream of Perez, and he's looking quite slow. We're going to get a move on him even before the bus stop chicane. So that's us up into 11th, and surely we can look up the inside of Kvyat as well in the Red Bull, and we have done. We could have possibly tried a double move there on Maldonado as well, but I thought better of it, and now we're alongside Maldonado coming out of the bus stop onto the start of lap 3. We might be able to make this stick around the outside of Maldonado going into La Source, and it looks like we have. So we're up into 9th, getting a bit of wheel spin on the exit, but we are through into 9th place. And next up is Marcus Ericsson in the second Sauber. So he's had a pretty good start, because Nasr was all the way down in about 16th place at the start of the race, but he got a poor exit out of Eau Rouge, and that's allowed us to easily move ahead of him into 8th now. Next up is the Toro Rosso of Max Verstappen, and we look pretty quick at the moment in these intermediate conditions, as we've closed up on Max Verstappen at the end of lap 3, and we're in the slipstream, and we're already going through on the straight. No need to wait for the braking zone. So that's us up into P7, and I've cut ahead now to lap 5, and you can see cars coming into the pit lane to make their stops from intermediates probably onto intermediates again. You can see there from my tyre wear that I'm probably going to have to come into the pits at the end of this lap. I'd say that it's pretty consistently been light rain here. So now on lap 6 we'll be coming into the pits and going on to intermediates again. And I'm assuming that everyone else has pitted on this lap who was ahead of me, and one of those guys is Nico Rosberg, so I'm a bit concerned here that the pit crew won't be ready for me when I come in, and indeed they are not ready for me. So that's cost me some time. That's made my pit stop last for 4 seconds, and we'll see what that's done as we come out of the pit lane now. You can see Sebastian Vettel there going through in the red Ferrari. He's in 6th place, we're down in 7th position. After our only stop, we've got 5 laps to go. I think the race win here is going to be well beyond us, but we'll see what we can do in these final few laps of this race. It's taken us a full lap to catch up to the back of Vettel and Ricciardo. Vettel has got past his old teammate and moved up into 5th place, so we'll be having a look at the back of Daniel Ricciardo in his Red Bull, and we might even make an audacious move up the inside of La Source. It's from quite a way back, but we've got the braking right. We've gone a little bit wide, but we've managed to make that move stick. We didn't collide with Ricciardo. That was a nice clean move. So we are in 6th place now and catching up to the back of Sebastian Vettel. This is later on in the lap. You can see Vettel ahead, and that looks like a Williams. Ahead of Vettel, we pushed the car right to the limits of the track there to try and get as good an exit as possible, and we've done that to go up the inside of Sebastian Vettel now into P5 with just over 2 laps to go. As Rosberg sets the fastest lap on his intermediates, he's well out in front. I think he's going to win this race. We can possibly make it onto the podium from here if we can get past, first off, Felipe Massa, who is in 4th place in his Williams. We get a really good slipstream coming down the Kemmel Straight, and we're so close behind the back of Felipe Massa. If we can get a good exit off this corner, we might be able to have a look at the inside into the long right-hander, and we have done that, even though we've run a little bit wide, but we have got the move done. We're in 4th place with a lap and a half to go, and it's Valtteri Bottas next up in the 2nd of the Williams cars, but unfortunately you can see now it's lap 11, the final lap, and we're coming through the final corners, and we've not been able to catch up to the back of the Williams. Nico Rosberg has won this race, so he is going to extend his lead in the championship over me once more. And Bottas and Raikkonen really close together there, the 2 Finns for 2nd and 3rd place, as I apparently set the fastest lap coming over the line. But we finished in 4th place, which will give us 12 points compared to the 25 of Nico Rosberg. So we've given up 13 points in the championship, which is not good news really. There's a rundown of the results. Rosberg from Raikkonen, then Bottas followed by myself. Massa, Ricciardo managed to get ahead of Vettel again before the end of the race, so Vettel all the way down in 7th. Sergio Perez rounding out the point scoring positions there in 10th and collecting 1 point there for Force India. So like I said before the start, our advantage with the tyres was eliminated by the conditions, so it was always going to be pretty difficult for us to win this race, but I really would have been helped out if one of the Ferraris had been able to get ahead of Rosberg, but that wasn't the case, and that means that we are now 38 points behind Nico Rosberg in this championship battle, and we really need to start making up this gap. We're running out of races, quite frankly. I think there's 8 rounds still left in the championship, so still plenty of points. But if Nico Rosberg is going to be consistently near the front, we're going to need to start closing him down. So the next race in the championship will be the Italian Grand Prix from Monza. I hope you can join me for that in the next episode. For now, guys, take care.